All right, hey, for my cool tool, I'm using QUIZZIZZ, and I just want to show you some stuff that we can do with this. I think this is a really awesome tool, especially if you have, when you get into your classroom, because we can do things, and you can make your account where you are a teacher. And so my field placement this semester is with Sparkman ninth grade school. And you can change this year by year. You can say how many grades you are teaching. It's really awesome. So just to start out, we have the Explore page, which is where you can just look through all the quizzes. It's a lot of fun. We're going to go over that in just a minute. You have your library, which has the things that you've made. And you can also do things that you've liked, things that other teachers have shared with you. There are reports, which have so you can see if this has been played 143 times, I have 143 reports. I can see how each of my students did. And I have classes, which is where we're going to start. Just to save a couple extra minutes for us, I went ahead and made a block. I made a classroom for my field placement. So I'm with Mr. Williams, third block. I don't have one with my students in it because, FERPA. But I thought just so we can start with that. So the way that we work with this is that you can find a quiz and assign it now. We're going to go through the Explore page a little bit, have a lot of fun. So let's just say that we are teaching the scientific revolution. We can search it, have a lot of fun with it. So there are lessons and there are quizzes. So we're going to look at this lesson first because I looked it over. It's pretty accurate, and you do have to look over everything to make sure that they're going to be accurate to something that's appropriate for your age group and something that's appropriate for just what you've taught your students. So we can go through this and you can just use their lecture. You can look through their slides and their questions. And I'm going to assign this to my classroom. I'm going to have this due in 2 weeks. I'm going to assign it to Mr. Williams' third block. And you can have fun quizzes names to make sure that they're not using anything inappropriate if you know your students. You can set a timer so they can see how long they take to do their questions. It's kind of like Kahoot in that way. I'm going to shuffle their answer boxes, and we're going to assign that to them. And so therefore my students could have, and there's only one in the class because that's me, so I could assign things. So we can see how long it would take them to do it. And they can do flashcards with this. And just to show you what a lesson is, we're also going to go over that. So you name it, it's going to go into history. And so it's kind of like PowerPoint, you'll see. It's really cool. I really enjoy these. So for the body text, we're going to say, not doing anything substantial for this, and it's, you can add images. So this is going to be a intro slide. Can't do any more than that. So over here we have our things. It's very similar to PowerPoint or Google Slides. I assume you're probably well versed in those. So you can add ones with bullets. You can add just the title and the text, title and subtitle. And what's really cool about this is that there are interactive questions. So you can have and if you're going through this in class, they can answer something that's a multiple choice. And you do it over here. You said, who made the first widely accepted model of the solar system? And you can add in your question, you can add in your answer choices over here. I'm not really going to do very much with this just because we're running out of time. And so when you give your lesson and your students have their phones out or their computers out and they're able to be on their QUIZZIZZ account, they'll click on this and it'll show up, and it's really awesome because I have it set to 30 seconds down here. And so this is, it's in English. I'm going to say this is just for my 9th graders. And I'm going to set this just to me. So I can assign that as a homework assignment too, or I can do it live. And there are also quizzes. And that's very similar to what we just did. It's the same thing, except it's just got the quizzes, and you make those, you can assign them, and it gives you some hints down here just so you know, like if it's like a really like good quiz or if you could like use a little bit extra work. I'm going to go into my classes, and what's really awesome about this is that you can connect it to your Google Classroom account, so I'm sure someone else is doing that. And so that makes it really easy to have a flipped classroom so that you can assign things, it can connect to your Google Classroom, and you can do your work through there, which I think is just fantastic. I really love when these tools work together. With your reports, you can see this. So I gave a quiz on Pompeii last year to my students, and you can see how I gave it to these classes, and this was just my friends, but you can see their overall accuracy for each of the classes, so you can gauge how each of your blocks are doing. And we can go in there, you can see how many they did, the questions, the attempts, and it's kind of just like Kahoot, except I think it's a little bit more catered to actually using it for a classroom, and so that it can be used as, like a full thing to use like as a classroom as a whole rather than just studying, even though these are really good for studying and they make flashcards for them. So thank you for sitting through this with me. I really hope all of you enjoy quizzes and that you can use them to their full potential, because it's a really loaded it's a really like loaded tool and it has so many useful things. You can have your whole classroom on here. It's just like Google Classroom, but I think it's a little bit more interesting and students really tend to enjoy it. So thank you. Bye-bye.